CNBC Africa caught up with JJ Van Dongen. He's the Chief Executive of Africa Phillips at the 2014 World Economic Forum in Abuja. Let's take a look at that discussion.
West Africa is one of our 5 districts in Africa, and for us it's really about redefining and rebuilding our position here in West Africa. We have grown significantly. We have employed more than 40 people in the last year alone here in West Africa, but we are continuing to grow, and we're building our organizations here in Nigeria and Ghana and other countries in West Africa so as to get back to some of the position that we believe we should have in terms of local presence and local relevance in the local market.
So definitely a growth node. Now the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, play a fundamental role not only in West Africa but on the continent, and healthcare fits quite well into that space, the space which Phillips is very competitive in. How big a role and how critical does technology play in the healthcare space right now?
It does, but I think it's around solutions. So while you may have a fantastic ultrasound, you need to use that ultrasound in a solution in a rural environment or in a regional hospital that allows it to be most effective. So for example, we've been working with groups like Imaging the World in Uganda, and we're looking at exploring similarly here in West Africa, where we use ultrasound to reduce mother and child mortality in childbirth. And we do that early in the stage. During the pregnancy, we encourage women to come in and be scanned, and we detect complications, and therefore we can be warned about events. But what is even more exciting about those type of solutions, and we discussed it last night in the Leaping Healthcare part of WEF, was about use of ultrasound by home healthcare workers, for example. Training home healthcare workers to do really basic ultrasound in a very simple protocol.
So the skill side of solution.
The skill side of the solution. So it's a solution which involves both equipment but the skill. It involves a cultural change, because what we did see in the cultural change in the studies we've done in Uganda was that fathers wanted to come and see, in rural environments, wanted to come and see their new baby or their potentially new baby's face ahead of the birth. And that brought the whole family involved in healthcare. And it's really some amazing studies that are coming through in terms of that work.
Now, JJ, whether we talk about solutions or technology, the word innovation always follows. Now, Phillips recently announced that you are opening an African Innovation Hub in Kenya, which will be based close to your headquarters for East Africa. What's the drive behind this innovation center, and where's that fitting into the innovation and collaboration space?
Yeah. Well, globally we have 3 main research centers: Bangalore, Shanghai and Eindhoven. But what we decided to do as a company, which is quite unique, is to open a local incubation or application center for Philips. We understand that there are 54 countries in Africa. Those countries have unique requirements. It's adaptation of global portfolio for those markets, but it's also about identifying specific needs in Africa that are not solved by our global portfolio. That can be around cooking, it can be around hair, it can be around healthcare as well. You know, pneumonia is a major impact in cause of death, and yet we are working in locally in terms of developing pneumonia centers as an example. So, and also around cooking solutions to improve people's lives in these type of markets.
So it's solutions for African, by Africans. How much R&D, investment and also collaboration is taking place at these innovation centers that you have? Specifically in Africa, are you drawing from local talent?
Yes, we are. Part of my policy for Africa, for my growth, is that I have local talent. We have invested significantly over the last few years in terms of people. So more than 250 people in Africa in the last 2 years. But what we've done with those people is that they all are local. So the focus is around local talent, to understand local needs, local ideas, and in the incubation as well, there are local people being employed there. The linkages to, say, Ghana or Nigeria from that hub is in a hub-spoke type of model. So we're trying to pull all those ideas in an open innovation environment, so it allows us to develop the local ideas by locals.
And JJ, before we go, let's talk about growth expectations for Africa. You've got your central nodes. You guys have been on the continent for some time. What are your expectations, your medium and long term, for the African continent, for Philips?
I think it's incredible. The opportunity in Africa is incredible. Yes, we do have our small, minor roadblocks as we go along, but for us we see it as a long-term presence. We've been in Africa for more than 100 years. We are now rebuilding and building stronger the presences we have. So we are in 7 direct countries, we're expanding rapidly in other countries, and we are building the workforce in those organizations. It's endorsed strongly by our board of management, our exco of Phillips, and we are doing the necessary investments, like the innovation centre you just mentioned. That is a unique thing that's being done for Africa. And our global CEO is here at the WEF, our global market leader is here at the WEF. That shows the sincerity that Phillips has for Africa to build its presence more strongly into the future.